prepare the script and I forget it. I prepare the script and I forget a part of it. I prepare the script and I come and speak completely the opposite of the script. I prepare a script and come and speak something which was not even what I thought I need to share. Now, there are gaps, ladies and gentlemen, and that's where the art comes into play. And what is the art? Adding voice and adding body is the art. And we really need to learn this because it's about timing. So it's about body, it's about tonality, it's called BTT, body, tonality, and timing. The first one I spoke about is authenticity, right? Likability and trust. It's important for you to remember this. So I'm talking about tonality and timing and body. You can call it BTT or TTB, anything that you're comfortable with. I will send you the PPT, so don't worry about making notes. So what am I here to talk about? Just please give me a second. Yeah. Yes. Now, the moment I tell you don't look at the chicken, you've already seen it. And that's how quick the human brain is. You get just 60 seconds to make the first impact. You get about 30 seconds to ensure that you insert a hook into the brain of the listener. And it's very critical that all brilliant speakers will use those first 30 seconds to say something personal, to say something engaging, to say something that is powerful, to ensure that a person doesn't forget it. Sometimes you make a mistake. Sometimes a mistake makes you. And I'm sure all of us in this room have made mistakes. Now the brain is this quick. The moment even I'm going to say, don't look at the chicken, you've already seen it. And that's what happens when a speaker speaks to another brain. It's one message from here to there using the media that is around us. So timing is extremely, extremely critical. Ladies and gentlemen, what is speaking? What is a speech? It's nothing but an idea which you want to share. It's a thought that you want to share. It's an emotion that you want to share. Be it whatever that you want to share, you need to break out the broad emotion or the idea into smaller pieces. And I've denoted it here graphically. You can remember everything in your brain much, much better graphically. The first exercise when you prepare a speech is to ensure that you hook the mind of the audience. And all speaking must be tailor-made to audiences and not to the speaker. Now, this is another mistake people make. I'm very good and funny. So, all my speeches, I'll be funny. But what if your audience doesn't want you to be funny? It's extremely important that you realize that being funny is only a tool that you can add and keep aside, but it cannot be the only way in which you can convey messages, because there can be something serious which is actually diluted because you're getting too funny sometimes. So please don't go by only what you're comfortable with. You need to start adding things to you so that even the audience will understand that probably this is an idea. Me too needs to receive. I too need to understand. So it is a job of the speaker to create one, attention, second, interest, third, the desire to listen to you. And very, very important, the call for action. What am I saying that motivates me to do what the speaker is asking me to do? What is it that I'm motivated to do further after listening to the message of the speaker? That's why any idea or message that you have, we call it the broadest idea, and we actually taper the pyramid down and bring it to different small little ideas that are going to add value to the big, broad idea. Ladies and gentlemen, I already told you there are two primary types of speech making. Verbatim follows paragraphs, extemporaneous follows framework. And this is the biggest difference. When you have paragraphs which you write down and you take it and by heart it, and you have an idea that you rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed until such that even in your sleep you're able to bring in the sequence, that is verbatim. Many of us are comfortable doing it, but some of us are not comfortable doing it. Extemporaneous is on the spot. Extemporaneous means your thought, your memory, your fluid flow, and your delivery, all of it works hand in hand. It's a difficult art, but definitely you can try and start today. You will definitely be able to monetize your speaking. You will be able to feel good. Others will be feeling really nice listening to you, and you can go on and on and on. Now, everyone knows what to say. Very few of you know how to say it. And this is where preparation is really, really important. Because if I want to connect to the audience, I need to be prepared. You cannot say that I'm going to do something on the spot. You cannot come in there and start apologizing for the weather or the quality of the Zoom room. You cannot come in there and say, oh my God, I've been traveling, I'm not feeling really good. Who the hell cares? Nobody does in today's world. So stop bringing on sob stories. Stop coming out there. And I've seen kids rolling on the floor, talking about death, talking about, I had a slip disc and I couldn't walk. And I'm in the audience, I'm a doctor, and I know that a slip disc is the last thing that will make you so seriously ill. So you're insulting the intelligence of the audience. Be careful. Always speak to audiences. What kind of audiences? Somebody who's interested, somebody who's disinterested, somebody who doesn't care, okay, least empathetic, somebody who's actually completely with you, which means hooked and engaged, and also a bunch who's completely ignoring you because they're in their own world, wondering what happened to their houses and the rest of whatever is in their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to be very smart to use words which all these audiences, assuming that all of them are in your audience, no one audience is homogeneous, assuming that all these qualities of audiences are there, use words which are hooks. And those words need to be completely constructed by you. And that's where it's not what you say, but how you say that really decides who you are as a speaker, ordinary or extraordinary. Now, I sum up today's session like this. First of all, find out the purpose of your speaking. If you don't have a speaking purpose, then you're chatting, then you're talking, then you're just having a conversation. You don't need any prep for that. And that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. If you're extemporary without prep, it shows. If you're extemporary with prep, it shows. They say the unprepared speaker has every right to be afraid. And when you're not prepared, people become nervous. You get anxious. A person who's in the audience starts rolling their eyes at you and you completely lose your purpose. If your purpose is strong enough, ladies and gentlemen, and your audience knowledge is really strong, then half the material is ready for you. Be it an elevator pitch, be it an entrepreneurial pitch, be it a request for venture capital, be it something wherein you're motivating people to change, be it something where you're actually engaging or rousing people to work with you and towards you. And the same person, if they use the wrong choice of words, can actually turn people away from you. Very quickly, I'll explain to you the purpose. The purpose of your speaking has to be either to inform, to inspire, to educate, to entertain, and very important, the most difficult forms of speaking, to persuade another mind. You are a non-vegetarian. You cannot live without non-vegetarian. And I'm going to convince you to become a vegetarian. Now, unless I'm going to tell you you're going to die tomorrow of a heart attack, it's very unlikely that anybody will even change their mindset. Our minds are all habit-driven. And as a speaker, you need to break the habit. And as a persuasive speaker, you need to gain space in the minds of the listeners. First, you need to gain space. And without gaining space, don't even try conveying information because that audience will not listen to us. The purpose is important. The audience is important. The material. What is it that I want to talk about? Is it something which is a topic like cooking? Is it a topic like gardening? Is it a topic like maybe even drawing, art and craft? Then what is it? It's just a very big idea. I need to start now working on the small little ideas that are going to contribute to you becoming a better cook. If you're going to talk social distancing as a big topic today, it's very important for you to first understand that all human beings are socially connected animals. When I say socially distant, it means you need not be emotionally distant. And you know what the audience thinks? Thank God, because I'm already distanced and I really want to feel more comfortable. So it's the job of the speaker to bring on security in the minds of the audience, because with security comes trust. With security comes authenticity. With purpose comes superior authenticity. And with trust and purpose comes superior likability. You give me shit and I will buy it. And that's exactly a kind of a set in which you got to start speaking to people. I presume all of us will be honest. I'm dead against people who lie and are hypocritical. I believe that you have no right to talk rubbish that's not yours. In today's world of plagiarism, Everyone goes and copies speeches from the internet. I myself have heard it. And those of you who are trying to scribble on my screen, great luck. It's called annotation. I love them. It adds color to whatever I'm saying. So never get distracted, because the audience sometimes tries to do that. And that's not with any malice. That's something they end up doing because they just want to show who's in command. Now, very important that once you have your purpose, you understand the audience, you know what to speak, you make it in structure. Anything that is haphazard is not understood by any listener's brain. So you got to start making it in structure. What is the structure? I told you, get the attention of the audience. Give them 3 points for them to understand in a 5 to 7 minute speech, never more than 3. So there's a point, and then you reinforce the point. There's one more point, you reinforce and support the point. There's the third point, and you reinforce and support the point. So maybe 2 to 3 points and reinforce your point in the body. When you have the attention, you have the body, and finally, you need to always take them toward the ending, which is nothing but an essence of the beginning. And what is the beginning? The purpose. So, ladies and gentlemen, add value to your word and set yourself free. You need to use powerful words. Come join me. Be encouraged to understand me when I speak with you. You know what? They'll all be with you. But if you're going to say that I know more than you, and I know you can't understand what I'm saying, then it's in few nanoseconds, they'll also wonder why you're alive, and they choose they'd rather die than you, than listen to this speech. Very important, construct a frame. Some of you are not good with writing, so construct a frame, opening, body, and conclusion. Attention, body, and conclusion. And you need to create a frame. What is a frame? It can be a word, it can be a phrase, it can be a sentence. And you need to note it down. Always keep a small little book and note it down. I always have a book. Even today, when you guys are saying something, you look there. Just carry something tiny with you all the time. And when you open that book, you've got small little tidbits you can just make a note of. Even if you write down 5 things a day, at the end of 1 month, you know how much you have. 20 to 30 tips you can use every time. Don't think you'll remember it, because you will not. 7 hours is all it takes for you to completely forget what is being discussed currently. Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. What do you analyze before you begin speaking? Let me assume you finish writing your speech. I would say about, say, 350 to 400 words. Go slow. Start preparing a body, structure it, attention, body, and conclusion. You have an attention grabber, a question or a quote or an anecdote or a story, a thesis, a research question, anything that you want to say. For example, now, if you really want to say something nasty, then you say, thank God I'm an atheist. And I've heard somebody say this, thank God I'm an atheist, right? And it actually shows you how dumb you are. You need to be careful when you're using your words. I don't mind you mispronouncing words, but when you're getting words together, you have to be really careful. I'm a voiceover artist. The other day, a gentleman was really appreciative of what I spoke. So he came to me and said, Ushy ma'am, I love your noise. And I was like, noise? He said, yeah, noise, what you use to speak. He meant voice, and that's ignorance. It was not purposeful. So it's very important for us to understand the wordplay that you do. I believe that words make a speaker. I don't want you to become a terrorist. I don't want you to use big words which people don't understand. I want you to use simple yet strong but meaningful words. It's not meaningful words, it's meaningful. And that's how you bring on value to the word, by adding emphasis. You need to analyze some things of what and where and how you're going to speak. One, who am I speaking to? Is it children? Is it women only? Is it mixed audiences? Is it a corporate? Is it a Toastmaster club? You need to really analyze who you're speaking to. Second, the why. It's understood I'm going to speak, but why am I speaking? Is it just to entertain them? Is it so that I can share an idea? Is it because I want your money to come into my pocket because I have a beautiful idea which you can invest in? Is it because I need to just sit there and persuade you to do something good for your health? I had a brilliant experience. I want to share it with you. Is it only because of that? And then in which case your entire construction changes. Ladies and gentlemen, the who is really important. I said, please tailor make your speeches towards audiences. Second, the why is even more important. And in fact, the biblical middle of your speech, before which you even begin thinking, is, am I going to entertain, persuade, inspire, educate, and very, very important, just inform. You cannot speak with only one purpose. You can have 2 or 3 purpose that you mix into your speaking. When you finish that, the where. I've heard people complain, oh, it's hot, it's sweaty, it's sticky, air is blowing in, don't get used to speaking in air-conditioned rooms. You need to learn to speak to people because you need to rouse people. You need to move people towards something good. The nation surely wants to know, but they also need to know outside that idiot box. Everything that you see is not the truth. It's important that you understand this, because then no one can influence us. If you do not know the where of your speaking, you might get influenced, but you will not be able to influence anybody, because no matter what the situation, a brilliant speaker will never crib. You will make use of whatever there is to get where you are, using what you have with all the energy and the ignition, so that the audience will take away a message that you're going to give to them. Now, when you prepare a speech, please write it down in the beginning. When you slowly start gaining expertise, you can slowly start memorizing it. You can start practicing it. People keep asking me what to do, what to do, what to do. And I keep telling people that you need to do it in a particular way. Now, prep with the audience in mind. Gender, age, background, cross culture. What's good in one culture is not good in another culture. Never stereotype your audience. Don't start talking Malayali English in Kerala. They're going to take a slipper and beat you up. I was wearing a red dress the other day and somebody introduced me, and I'm supposed to be a columnist. And they said, Dr. Ushy ma'am is a communist. Now that was a slip, but the red came in handy. They actually thought I was a communist. And I had 15 communists wave out to me. And they said, oh, wow, we are on the same side. And believe me, I'm not one. But on that particular day, I waved back at them, because it's going to help me get my audience hooked onto me. It's important never to stereotype your audience. Don't say these are all old men. These are all kids. These are all useless students. They don't understand, madam. I've heard many teachers say that to me. They'll be with the device, ma'am, always massaging each other, never listening to us. Don't know why we speak to them. Now, believe me, you've lost the battle even before you begin. I speak to students and I've got 100% engagement. You got to work a little harder. But at the end of the day, it's important to recognize which audience is going to accept what part of your story. So always prepare with your audience in your mind. Now, I call this brainstorming with people who come to me. You got to start thinking in your brain, and you can get a lot of techniques to have your juices flowing. If I'm not excited about what I'm speaking to you all, how can you be excited about listening to me? It's very, very important that you start understanding this, because only then, like I told you, clustering to free writing. If I write cooking, and I have many aspects of cooking, what are the ingredients, which cuisine, which country, what is your experience, what do you want the audience to learn? That is called clustering. Always have one block idea and start clustering around it. And what do you choose as a topic? 90% of the people have problems. You choose friends, office, family, and your interests. You cannot forget it. Friends, office, family, and your interests. It's called 4F. Please don't forget about it. It's a very easy way for you to remember. Choose a central idea and start clustering your thoughts around it. Make small little diagrams and write down their definition, explanation, 2 examples, 3rd failure, 4th success, 5th ending. So you need to cluster your talking. As you finish clustering your talking, you talk to one more person about your cluster. And if they say, oh, how boring, please don't go ahead with it. Whoever it might be. Okay, so you need to brainstorm. You need to also talk your ideas through with another person. Very important. This is the difference between an ordinary and extraordinary speaker. Distill the idea to extract the essence. I want to persuade. Why? I want to be the most powerful person on this planet. And you're going to teach me how to do it. So it's called distill the essence, which means I've got to choose my words strongly. I can't have an audience which is confused. If somebody is confused, it's my job as a speaker to bring clarity. If somebody is concerned, it's my job as a speaker to bring confidence. Extremely important. If somebody, and all of us are capable, it's my job to bring on competence. How sharp are you? How pointed are you? How much will I want to listen to you and keep wishing this never ended? At the end of the day, you must, as a great speaker, turn criticism to celebration. Don't get affected by what other people think or feel about you. The people who love you will come and tell you what you need to do more. I've told you already, choose a topic, choose the subject, extremely important, choose a theme. Do you want to be sad or happy? Do you want to be angry? Do you want to bring on what's happening, current situation? Do you want to talk about a thing? Do you want to talk about a pet? Do you want to talk about a person? So the theme is really important, the category and the general area of interest. So once you finish choosing the topic, it's important to develop your outline. I've already told you attention, body, and conclusion. Once you develop an outline, it's important to realize the technique. Persuasive speaking is all about high-powered body language and great emphasis with emotion. Inspirational speaking is always exaggerated body language with open palms. When you inspire, when you really want someone to understand, you need to use these gestures. So gestures form a very large part of inspirational speeches. Information, you can be like Buddha. I came here, I came to tell you, I want to inform you, this is what it is, watch out for the PPT, it's brilliant. You can finish your speech and say, excuse me, I'll give you the PPT, you can go home. It's all left to the speaker. You can choose all of this. Entertainment, yes, you can't have all entertainment. You really need to understand that people just don't want to laugh. You can laugh along as you're speaking, but if you say a statement like, you're never too young to run an empire and never too old to chase a new dream, they will be like, oh, now, is that for me? And every single audience person should feel involved in your speaking. Like I said, please remember PIIEE, pie, with a double I and a double E. It's very easy to remember these things. I will share that with you as we go along. Thesis and rebut, another way to write your speech. You need to write down a small little thesis, which means that you need to write about 3 sentences in the opening, about 3 to 6 sentences in the middle, and very important, you need to, in the end, bring it to an extent where you rebut your own thesis, which means that you will debate with yourself to prove a point. It's called thesis and rebut. It's a beautiful technique. It's also very, very easy. They say words fall on your ears, they are read by your eyes, and they spark action in your mind. If your words are not falling on your ears, they're not seen by the eyes, and they're not sparking action, you'd rather just shut up and be silent. You're actually wasting people's time. Very quickly, I just want you to remember the words. It's called exposition. Now, exposition is something that you can write down. Okay, so now you're going to write down a speech, study it verbatim, come and speak to it about people. You're going to come in and tell them a story verbatim. That's called exposition. Whereas if it's my story and it's going to be very conversational, where I'm going to say, you know, this guy came, that guy came, you know what he said, you know what he did, and you're going to say these things to people, then you call it anecdotal. So you can either be an exposition type of speaker or an anecdotal kind of speaker. Anecdotal speakers sometimes don't know where to stop. The structure gets affected. At no stage can you let the structure get affected, because if you don't apply this to all your speaking, including what you speak one-on-one and when you use your words, then definitely you're going to fall flat on your face, wasting your time, wasting other people's time. It's called abstract. Explain your point initially. Very important. You use an idea, you use a quote, you use a shocking quote, you just stand silent for 10 seconds. That also is an attention grabber. If you're going to come in there and you're going to say, conserve toilet paper, use both sides, everyone's going to start like wondering what's wrong with me. But what do I have? Attention. And when I have the attention, I'm going to debunk the myth that I just said. I'm saying that in a world where information is so quick and people's understanding is not so quick, it's important that you stop by and learn to listen. And people will understand the context in which I started speaking. Great speaking is all about context and perspective. Abstract, body, I told you 3 points, offer some supporting evidence, because the brain keeps asking why. And you need to keep answering those questions, remember, to all types of audiences. Finally, the conclusion, which is your final thought. Now, the number one question people ask me is, how do I know I'm ready? Let me tell you, there are 7, 10, 12, 14, or 25 P's. Practice, 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 practice till it becomes you. They say, unless you become the ocean, you will be seasick very often. And it's important that you become the ocean and not stay seasick all the time. anxiety, memory loss, can't remember, butterflies in your stomach. I don't care if you have an elephant in your stomach, it's possible. And believe me, never work on your weaknesses. Always find out what you're good at and start building on that. Start clustering on the good that's in you. Now, these are the ways in which you can start practicing. Time to practice frequently. Your brain is a muscle. It has memory. And if you keep practicing your speech, your muscle memory revolves around the words. If I say I have a dream, everybody knows that. If I say I can and you can, everybody knows that. Fly like a butterfly and sting like a bee, everybody knows who said it. And if I say the me in me wishes to speak to me through me, everybody knows who said it. Currently, he owns an island. And we're all sitting in our respective houses. So sometimes speaking rubbish also gets you mileage. But at the end of the day, what the heck? Everyone's laughed so much because of one man. A man who could not find a camera in his room, but he can help you find God. It's as simple as that. So great speaking actually gives you a lot of substance. It keeps you alive. It keeps you vital and vigorous. I say develop muscle memory. Practice develops muscle memory. Read your speech in front of your friends. It's a beautiful way. Keep reading your speeches whenever you get a chance. If you're traveling, catch hold of your neighboring passenger in a metro, start telling them a speech. They may run away next time. You have extra space to sit and you finished your practice. So everything is a win-win situation. Stand in front of a mirror. When you stand in front of a mirror, you can observe the microscopic gestures. You can also explore new gestures, like raising an eyebrow. It's not a great thing, all right? Like squirming. Oh yeah, really? I didn't think so. So when you shrug in front of an audience, many people who wear a suit have a habit of shrugging a single shoulder. Be very careful because people are watching you. They get distracted by what they see more than what they hear. The message that meets the eye must meet the ears, and that is the journey that a brilliant speaker undertakes. Record yourself. You have devices today. Just take 5 minutes recording and keep listening to yourself and see, am I happy? Am I happy? Because you're the best judge. Watch for subtle facial movements. I've got speakers who speak and lick their tongues. You know, all of this is good for you, but it's not good for people who really observe you. It's very, very important. Two last things before I close down. The one thing that you can add as an art to your speaking is called tonality, your voice. And this is a beautiful cartoon. It says, which one of you just called me an a-hole? You're wearing a mask, you can't see, and you can't hear well. If you don't know each person's voice, you wouldn't know who actually said it. Ladies and gentlemen, pitch, pace, power, and pause. It's not what you say, but how you say that causes conflict. It's not what you say, but how you say that causes conflict. What is pitch? Always speak to the people who are closer to you in softer tones and throw your voice to the people behind so that they too can be involved in your speaking. So that's called pitching. Remember a ball, like how it pitches and goes to the other end. Please remember, it's important to train your voice. Easier said than done, but you're welcome to attend my workshops anytime. I'm somebody who teaches the world how to tone it, to modulate their voice using tonality. It's a big science. Your larynx has to run on steroids, and you really need to start work on it. Not literally, but otherwise, you need to start working it out. Pace. Don't speak too slowly or don't speak too fast so that nobody can understand really what you're saying. You're excited, but what the heck? The other person just cannot understand. And they're like, what just happened? And it's important for you to understand the rate at which you speak is important. Emotion is slow, but another kind of emotion like anger can be fast. So please remember pitch, pace, power. Hey, you know what? I want you to do something tomorrow. I want you to understand something the right way. So every word you put an emphasis on the sentence, it becomes the primary message that you're conveying to the brain. Be careful where you're putting your power, because that's what the person understands. Don't you dare do this to me. Don't ever dare do this to me. So the emphasis goes on don't, and it's not so offensive. Don't you. And it's very offensive because you are actually creating offense. Pausing, no comments about it. You can pause, but be careful. Long pause can be dangerous. Dr. Ushy is expecting change. And this guy just came in and said, Dr. Ushy is expecting. And then he paused for a second and then he said, change. So you be careful where you're pausing. It's extremely important. Body language is a very big science. Not going to talk about it, but just please remember, any gesture which is upward is good. Any gesture which is palm open is brilliant. Any gesture which is pointing, not really good. Any gesture which is pointing is really acceptable. So human beings send signals and the other mind receives signals. Be very importantly conscious, because subconsciously every single message is registered in your brain. Ladies and gentlemen, the subconscious mind is one of the biggest tools in speaking. You can either create a strong first impression or you might even be forgotten. The word choice that you have and the way in which you speak, you might even win confidence or completely end up in anxiety. And lastly, and very, very important, all the opportunities that you have in your world is because you created it with confidence. Or else, if you're going to talk from the entire root of anxiety, then probably people will shut down and say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. You cannot force the audiences to listen. Very quickly, I will appreciate your time, your patience, and your time investment. I will sum up this entire session by saying, first, use every strategy that I gave to connect. Next, use every principle that I gave you to convey. Once you connect and convey, don't just go to your conclusion. It's important for you to invest your time in convincing an audience. When you finish convincing an audience, it's your job, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Toastmasters, to end with a strong note of confidence. You can do it. If I did it, you can. If I cannot, I will make sure that you can. Together, we can do a lot. And I believe that timing is really, really important. Body language and tonality is really important. People don't care what you say to them. They really care how you say it to them. When you're pointing your finger, always make sure you line it toward you. Hey, you know what? You need to mind your business. Hey, you know what? I'm going to teach you a lesson and this might get you a slap on your face. Don't tell me I didn't warn you. Open palm gestures, closed palm. Always have a pleasant expression. What does it cost to smile? A lot. And a smile can do a lot of things. It's one curve that sets everything straight. So you need to start exercising. Don't be conscious of your teeth. Don't be conscious of the way you look. Everything in life is just 18 years plus 100 years of experience. Feel young, feel vibrant, and learn to share. I believe that you've invested your time in me. I want all your questions. I've explained to you the entire concept of trust, authenticity, and yes, likability. I also explained the concept of P, double I, and double E. Are you speaking to persuade, to inspire, to inform, to educate, and to entertain? You can use all of it once or twice. I've also told you that the important purpose is there. You need to structure it, build a framework, look at the clusters. Always it helps you to create a cluster. And when you finish doing all of that, you write it down and speak verbatim, or you remember the framework and speak extemporary. In order for you to exercise your memory, I've told you that the 20 PPPP is very important, out of which I've shared some doable, very easy ways in which you can. I really appreciate your time and your patience. I don't know how Rohan found me, but I'm glad that you did. I want all of you to please put in a few good words. I'm not sure, but these Indian Toastmasters, they never give you anything online. They're just 2 or 3 kids of mine who keep writing good things over there. I'm not sure, but had it been a bad thing, I've seen all the nonsense videos get in so many remarks and comments, and you spend all your time in negative thoughts and negative energy. The negative word spreads super fast. It's important to also spread the good word. Please join me on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn and Instagram. Write to Ushy at Gmail. Anything that you want, feel free to ask me. You all have a special place in my heart after today. Thank you to Rohan and the entire team for everything that you have done. And to all the other Toastmasters and friends and everyone on YouTube who has texted me for the link and decided that you're going to invest some time in great learning. Every single one of you matters. And without you, I'm absolutely zero. So if you have questions, you should ask me. And once I answer your questions, then probably I'll just maybe take 1 minute to end my entire speaking. Any questions? Yes, please ask me.
Hi, ma'am. As Rohan mentioned, we have prepared a list of questions which we
Please
received from the
go ahead.
participants.
Yes.
I'll just put on a slideshow and sure, thank you.
To everyone who's appreciating me out there, thank you. Means a lot to me. but don't stop here, go there. Right, right. Oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I want all of you to stay connected. I come to Toastmasters to make friends. There's nothing else there for me in it. I'm not a DTM, I'm an ATM, anytime Toastmaster. It's a degree that nobody gives you. And I'm not into IT, I'm into TT, which is transformation technology, right? It's a difficult technology. How do I start and end my speech? Oh my goodness, this is like after the whole of Ramayana, you're asking me who's Rama.
So,
right?
ma'am, what we've done, if I may, we have about 17 questions, and I'm guessing you've covered most of them all. So what I can
No,
do
but
is I can.
let's run through it quickly. No one should feel
Sure.
left out. Quickly.
Sure.
So how do I
Great.
start and end my speech? Please plan a great attention, a good body, and finally a great conclusion. Look at the purpose of your speaking. Find out, am I entertaining? Am I inspiring? Am I educating? Or am I persuading? Write down your main thesis. Start clustering it. End up writing your whole speech word to word. Study it by heart and speak verbatim. Or just have a framework and go out there and decide your audience. Are they children? Are they young? Are they culturally different? Are they religiously different? Is everyone together now of a particular age group, of a particular gender? Are they all from one country or otherwise? So that ends everything. So write it down, think it in your brain, and ladies and gentlemen, whatever you think in your brain, you will hold in your hand in no time. If you think rubbish, and that's what you'll be holding. If you think I'm going to crack it, that's what you'll be holding. What you focus on, energy flows to. So that's all I would say. Energy at the beginning, energy at the end, and don't run away. Stay there anchored. Speaking is all about anchoring. And anchoring doesn't mean that it's a shitty ship. Anchoring just means that it's a strong ship. It knows when to stop. It knows when to start. It also knows when not to move. And that's also very important, right? Next one. Let's do this quickly. All right. Yeah. What works better at public speaking? Entirely prepared, rehearsed speeches, or natural speaking? Who's a natural speaker? If you want to give a speech for 10 minutes, you got to prepare for 10 days. If you want to give a speech for 1 hour, you need not be prepared. So the more pointed you want to be, the more the prep. It took me 30 years to be an overnight success. And I will recommend that many know at least 10 years. And don't become a life coach when you're 16 years old. Doesn't work. So that's all. Both are good. Both are good. But never copy anybody. How does one make hand gestures, stage movement, and eye contact in a free flow without being conscious of the same while speaking? First of all, watch out for your tie and watch out for your fly. Wear clothes that are comfortable. Don't wear things that are tight and you keep pulling down like Sri Devi's micro mini she used to wear and keep pulling down and she stood in front of people. Wear things you're comfortable in. Wear things that are not too revealing, not drawing attention to you, be it a man or a woman. No tight trousers. Watch out for your thigh. Ladies, watch out for your butterfly. When you get up and walk, there are things which get into your gluteal crevice. You need to be very conscious, loose, and not distract audiences. Very important. How do you make hand gestures? Be careful. When somebody asks you, oh, how was yesterday evening? Please don't tell them, oh, wow, I enjoyed it. That might be a gesture that you're so used to. But believe me, in public, you've got to be a bit conscious. Practiced, rehearsed gestures. Practice, rehearsed gestures, God knows. You understand what I'm saying? Practiced, rehearsed gestures. You need to slowly start orchestrating your gesturing. How do you do that? Stand in front of a camera, record. Stand in front of a friend, record. Stand in front of the mirror, record. And don't judge yourself, but just watch yourself passively and see, am I looking good? Am I feeling good? Then somebody else will also do that because all human minds are mirroring. If you're feeling good, someone else feels good. If you're not feeling good, someone else automatically doesn't feel good, right? So please don't be conscious. You're wearing a sleeveless dress, please ensure that you wax your underarms. We've seen people who come up there and get conscious. So you stand like this and start speaking like this. So you got to be free flowing. Don't worry what anybody thinks. But at the same time, you cannot afford to be in the face. Don't go too close to people when you're speaking. It's called intrusions into private spaces. It's called the science of proxemics. You got to be careful where you're standing and speaking from, even if it is online. You cannot suddenly get up. I had a Toastmaster who keeps getting up every 2 minutes and I have to see his crotch because it comes in front of the camera like that. It's not a great feeling. You've got to be very conscious, all right? And you have to be aware and conscious. And it's not all about not being conscious, but be conscious for the right reasons, right? Yeah. Next, 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 next. You can ask me more, okay? Write to Ushy at Gmail. If it's not clear, you can tell me right now. What makes a Toastmaster speech than another stage speech? No difference at all. No difference at all. You got to know that tomato and apple and everything else looks red. Tomatoes but you should be wise enough to understand one cannot be put in a fruit salad. Toastmaster speaking is for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 20 minutes maximum. If I speak in a workshop, that's a 6 and an 8 hour speech. I cannot even sit down and have a sip of water sometimes. So you cannot say, I'm trained only for 5 minutes. Sorry, guys, I can't do it. So it means if you know your ABC up to Z, literature is not a problem at all. Toastmasters is a basic platform for everybody. It's a wonderful platform, a very friendly, not a hostile platform. Stay away from the politics. You'll be fine. Concentrate on your speaking. And they say religion, politics, and sex is responsibly allowed in Toastmasters. So I'm not sure why some people indulge in politics. I'm sorry, some of you want to kick me for it, but that's the truth. I stay far, far away. I'm not interested in power and position. I believe that good speakers can change the world around them. And anything, even if it's a TED talk or a Toastmaster talk or any talk, even when you talk to your friends, your friends should want to listen to you. And believe me, that makes a big difference because you are a brilliant speaker who can convey the truth in a manner which is palatable, which is polite, which is likable, and which is very important. People remember the words that you convey. I met a gentleman in a flight, and believe me, you know what he said? Ushy ma'am, I met you in one of the Toastmaster programs. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't remember you. What's your name? He gave me his name. And I said, how come you remember me? He said, 3 years ago, when you came and spoke to me, you said there are 3 levels of arrogance: I, Iyer, and Iyengar. And he said, I'm an Iyengar. So I can't forget that because I felt very proud that day that I am on the top level of arrogance. It was an extempo thing that I said. And believe me, he still 4 years later hasn't forgotten it. He still remains a friend. So that's why I'm here to make more new friends. Rohan for sure is one. I want all of you to join me. And the more, the merrier. I like being disturbed on social media. I love getting messages on WhatsApp. And I learn from people who share things with me because I need data. You need matter. You need to be current. You cannot be coming and faffing in front of people all the time. You cannot get repetitive. It must be refreshing, right? Next one, please. Next one. No difference. How to prepare for impromptu speech. Yeah, I'll give you one quick way. First one, always pick 3 words from the topic. Pick 3 words from the topic and talk about the past, present, and the future with those 3 words. Pick the first half of the topic and debate with it. Pick the second half of the topic and rebut the topic. Very important. You also look at a point, an example, and a reason. Pick 1 word, look at the point, look at an example, and give the reason for it. Your topic is over. Now, if you get topics like, how come a carrot is more orange than an orange? Then that obviously is the intent to not let you speak. Somebody came to me the other day and said, you think you're very smart, right? I'm going to give you a topic. Can you speak? And I said, yes, please let me know. So he was the honcho in a very big time company. He looked up at me and said, how will you face a problem if the problem is your face? For a second, I was quiet. And then I told him, you tell me, because you seem to have better experience dealing with this face. You understand that? So you can really have fun. You can also give it back to people. And I get supari from my friends to go and put down their friends using words. So I'm a mischievous person. I'm not saintly or godly or anything. I'm just human and I make tons of mistakes. And I'm so glad for my mistakes that those mistakes have made me who I am today. Next question, please. Can we change our natural speaking style? No, 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 no falsetto. How you are is what you can be. You can change the tone of your speaking. You can change the purpose of your speaking, but you cannot change the speaker that you are, because if you do, the audience will guess that very quickly. It's called alignment. Alignment between what they see, what they hear, and what they do. If you want them to do what you're asking them to do, they must see that you are who you state you are. If now I'm going to say I'm a great person and go out there and do rubbish and I'm not walking my talk, definitely they're not going to trust me. And remember, I told you trust was a number one, completely number one phenomenon why an audience would love to listen to you. This lady never lies. She always speaks the truth. And I think that's a reputation I would kill for and die with. Yes, please. Next one. Next one. How to grab the audience attention at the start. Either have a great story. Okay, greeting is all right. Don't say, good morning, and then just wait. It's important to come out with an original sentence, to have an anecdote, to have a quote, or to have the beautiful, meaningful question. Imagine tomorrow, if this virus came into our houses, it would take us sharp 1 week for all of us to die. Can you imagine a life without your children? Can you imagine a life without your parents? Can you imagine a life without Toastmasters? So start linking. You got to get the attention in different ways. You might use the risky way, which is talk something negative, if you want to. All men on this planet deserve to go away to Venus because that's where they belong. And then somebody will stand up and say, all the women get out to Mars. So, you know, you can confuse people. You can convince people. At the end of the day, you got to be comfortable because you're going to link it to the message and not just bring one blunt opening from somewhere. Like I told you, sometimes you make a mistake, sometimes a mistake makes you. And my entire idea is to tell people make mistakes. That way you'll be one speech up and ahead, right? Next one, next one, next one. How to incorporate vocal variety. I told you, practice, practice. You need to enunciate and pronounce your words very well. You can't come and say, I'm a poor man coming here to see how sure you are. Nobody understands what you're saying. Don't come to me and say, madam, you're superbly intelligent, but also very sarcastic. It's sarcastic. So you got to be very careful with the enunciation of words. Don't eat up your words. We Indians have a tendency to keep saying from. We also have a tendency to say, you know, I heard this key. I heard that key. I want to do this key and that key. And then you have all the MC and the BC words. You are a victim of habit. Be careful what you're saying. You got to be really careful. A student of mine called me the other day and said, Ushy ma'am, TC. I thought it was some new word connected to MC and BC. But TC is take care, I believe. Because I clarified with him, are you abusing me? And he explained to me. So you learn it. Stand and record yourself. Get yourself a nice little app on your phone and keep speaking in a tone. And you ask somebody, did you understand? Am I happy? Am I angry? Is it coming across? Am I sad? Is it coming across? Speak softly when you're sadder. Sometimes you scream when you're sad. So there are no rules to speaking and you can break every one of them. Anything else? Anything else? Let's run through. I get a bit anxious before speaking. All right. Okay, there's an exercise for you. The one who gets anxious, a glass of water. Take your index finger, dig into your thumb with your nail. Take your index finger, dig into your thumb, in the middle of your thumb, as many times as you can, under the table, next to you, however you want. Take your nail and dig into the middle of your thumb. What happens? Your parasympathetic nervous system relaxes. You feel a lot better. You feel like you're the king himself. And when you go and stand in front of people, they will not bother you at all. It will be there for just 10 minutes. Slowly, you need to start getting into the track. Use your stance, steady stance, comfortable clothing. Keep your shoulders straight and erect. Always look straight and have a smile on your face. You release endorphins. You release serotonin. You'll get comfortable before no time. It's only the initial 20 seconds that are critical. After that, you'll be in flow. Believe me, everyone can. Keeping your focus while delivering the talk, while speaking, I lose track. That's because you're memorizing. You're memorizing too hard. You're not creating muscle memory. And you need to memorize in such a way that you remember. It's called tagging. You need to tag the first word. You need to tag the first word of every paragraph. If you by chance forget, repeat the last sentence that you said once again. You will get your focus back. That's one easy way. Repeat the last sentence once again, and you can be able to cope with that. Try me on that. Next one, please. How to manage distractions. Yeah. Be immune to it. You need to wear a mask. See, all of us wear masks. Because of Corona, the masks are visible. Why don't you wear another mask and make yourself immune to what people say? If somebody's doing this to you, you do this back to them. And they will keep quiet. And that's why you need to be aware, and you need to also be completely immune. Aware and immune is a brilliant speaker. Don't get affected. But at the same time, if someone is really making a very genuine face, you got to start watching out for what you're saying, because they are not getting interested, or they're getting offended, or they're getting bored. It's important that you watch. Anything else? Yes, next one. How to develop your humor skills. Get in touch with me. Don't just crack some silly jokes. Get in touch. It's an art. You need to learn it. It's very easy. It's not tough at all. We'll have a session one of the Sundays on humor. It's extremely important. You learn one line, look at people, look at situations. It's so simple. I have a board outside my house which says, never mind the dog, beware of the owner. So you can remember that, right? There are so many things that you can say. If you look at anything that you really want to say, you can. So you can say that I've got flabby thighs. I'm so glad I have flabby thighs. It covers my thunderous stomach. So you don't know which one to choose. So you need to be humorous and make fun of yourself. You say, long time I've not seen my feet. And after COVID, I've realized that I've got smaller feet. The fact is your tummy grew, and other people will realize it. So it's your job to learn self-deprecation. Don't make fun of others, always make fun of you. Right? Next one. How to maintain confidence. Breathing, meditation, stammering. Yes, there is technique. So please get in touch if you're stammering. I can help you with technique if you have medical stammering. Stuttering and stammering is a problem with the central nervous system. We can set it right using either hypnosis or getting into what we call frequency-based fine-tuning. Yes, no problem. Yeah. Anything else? I always find it difficult to concise my speech content in 5 to 7 minutes. No excuses. You cannot waste anyone else's time. A prepared speaker is always within time. Whether you're here or there, you know your brain will tell you, time up, stop it. A structured, great speech will never exceed the time. How do I ensure that audience's attention in small time convey the message also? Yes, you can. Very easy. One is repetition. It's a great way. You always make a mistake, but sometimes a mistake makes you. At the end of this session, you would have remembered that. You'll never forget it, because I've repeated it at least 7 times until now. So it's important subtly that you remember and you repeat. Repetition is the quickest way, but not to bore anybody. How to avoid stage fright? Get on the stage more. What if you go blank while speaking? Smile. Show them your lovely outfit and walk away. Speak what comes to your mind. Tell them a story. You'll never forget it. It's your story. And if you make mistakes, don't worry. Just say Benjamin Franklin said it. No one knows whether he said it. All right? Yes. How long does it take to engage the audience with the creator on YouTube? Does it always belong only to content? No, it belongs only to content, and shitty content gets you better views. If a channel is not doing very well, you can be rest assured there's no paid PR, there's no marketing team involved, and otherwise it has to be the me in me speaking to the me in you through me, and get 1 million views because it's funny. All right? So don't go after views. All right? Just go after quality content. It's there to stay. My YouTube channel is there only because a student of mine came to me and said, ma'am, if you die, where can we go and listen to you? So he knows I'm going old, and he was worried that when I die, who's going to listen to me? And that's one of the reasons I created my YouTube channel. It's again Ushy Mohan. Please feel free to come and join me there, because I don't market. If anybody likes it, you come and watch it. So don't go for creations on YouTube just to get people. But if you have good content, automatically the people that really deserve it will come and hook onto you within no time. All right? Yeah, next one, please. I have Nazrul Islam, president, with a raised hand. Could you please ask Nazrul to present himself or ask a question? I'm sure he has something to say. I see the
Thank you,
hand
ma'am.
raised. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for your great presentation. So, if anyone try to present every day and take the challenge to a limited group for improving his presentation skills, so whether the presentation is okay or not,
Yeah.
will it be accepted to keep continue, or how do you suggest him?
It's accepted to continue, but there is a technique of distraction. So please distract people and bring them back. It's okay to continue. Absolutely okay to continue. No problem. But you need to distract people. Always remain connected. People are ready to forgive all the mistakes. Don't worry. If you forget, if you say something wrong, if they find fault with what you're saying, don't stop. You can continue. You can always excuse yourself and continue. No. Confirm your email ID. My email ID is very simple. All right. Yeah. Anybody else who has a question? I've got a lot of private questions here. It's very difficult to take a private question in such large forums.
Ma'am, with your permission, I had
Yeah.
2 questions which came out of your session.
Please
If
do.
I may.
Yeah, please do.
Ma'am, you spoke about focusing and building on your strengths and not
That's right.
worrying too much about your weaknesses.
That's right.
Let's say a speaker has some clarity in the way he talks. He's a good
Yeah.
speaker otherwise,
Mm.
but his body language is poor.
Yeah.
So would you count body language as a weakness and ask that speaker to ignore it and focus on the rest of the bit?
See, body language and voice, they are tools. You can use a tool appropriately in one context, and that tool need not be used in another context. It's very important as a good speaker to have the tools with you. They are not traits. Your body language is not a trait, it's a tool. And when you say someone is a weak speaker, and when you say it's a weakness, it means I'm an introvert. That's a weakness. It means I'm a quiet person. I can't talk too much to people. That's a weakness. Body language and voice is a tool. Everyone has a body, everyone has a voice. But the extent to which you'll use the tool is your comfort level. If you're not comfortable, please don't push. It shows. And we've seen speakers who come up there and do drama. We've seen speakers who come up there and do acting. And that's not great speaking. Today, I wish my mother was alive. And you know what? Everyone's laughing. It's exaggerated theater. And speaking is not about theater. Theater is completely different. So there are different forms of speaking. So body language and voice is not a trait. It's a tool. When I don't have a tool, it's my job to acquire a tool and use it appropriately. All right? I hope I'm clear. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're
The
welcome.
second question I had, ma'am, when you were talking about the differences between verbatim and extempo speaking.
Yep.
In extempo speaking, you spoke about having a structure or a
Yep.
framework.
Yep.
So when we talk about the framework, is it some kind of a mental note that we have to make, let's say points A, B, C, or we jot them down? And how is it different from writing full sentences in a speech?
If you write 4 sentences in a speech and you have, say, 16 sentences in a speech, Rohan, you'll forget one in the middle, you forget all. Unless you by-hearted it, right? The brain works on what we call sequence and flow. If you don't chronologically arrange the sequence, there's a tendency that you will freeze and you will forget what you're saying. But if it's extemporary, you remember only the word. You remember an example. You remember like bus stand, dog, purple flower, and you can build a story around it because your brain already knows what you have in your mind. Your brain works before you, and it's very important to peg it. You need to have those pegs. Those are like milestones. Your brain will do all the attaching, and it's your job to actually orchestrate everything and present it to the audiences. When you do impromptu speaking, you have to be extremely conscious. You got to have the word choice. Your vocabulary has to be really good. Plus your storyline has to fit. And if you're really gutsy, you can do your gibberish. You can speak anything and get away with it and then say, thank you. And everyone will be like, oh, wow, what did I get? So it's all about how convincing you are. And it's not only about making sense, right? So imagine this sentence. Contraceptives should be used on every conceivable occasion. So it's a brilliant message. It's a brilliant sentence. It's humorous. It's loaded. And its words fit together in the right way. The content and content is very different. People mix up the words for each one. Almost every English word has 10 to 12 meanings. We got to be very careful when we use the meaning in relativity. So extemporary is about framework and verbatim is about by-hearting. And that's why I said in verbatim, basically people are not very, very easy and they're very comfortable doing that. They end up doing it, but they cannot move between situations. You cannot rouse an audience. You have serious limitations, but you'll give a nice, beautiful oration. It's like Shah Rukh Khan giving a speech, which is from the Bible. You feel nice, beautiful. Wow, what a delivery. But when an old haggard priest comes and speaks from the Bible, we all end up crying. because there's an emotional connect, because he does that every day. So it's all about, do you just want the wah-wah, or do you really want to move somebody and leave behind impressions in people's minds? That's all. Am I running late? You need to stop me if I am. If you guys have time.
One question.
Rohan, do we have time for more questions? Rohan?
Yes. So we have one question from the chat window from Nana. She's asking, we are giving a speech which is a story, but it has no motivational takeaway. But the incident which happened had a big impact on me. How to end my speech in that story, in that case?
Why should you motivate for everything? You don't need to motivate. Who told you that you should only be motivational? You should be honest. So please don't worry if you're silent, if you're quiet, you have a boring story. It's your job to spice it up with a little bit of ingredients so that the audience takes away the message. So you need to only work on the message, and that message has to be beautifully decorated and placed in all areas of your speech, including the ending. And when you really want the audiences to remember you, you leave them with a question. You leave them with a very funny statement. You leave them with something they'll remember you by. You create suspense. And that's all that's required. No need to motivate them. I mean, these are all fixed ideas. And please be fluid in your speaking. Look at people and speak to them. And like I tell people, that your wisdom, your laughter, your patience, all of these things are what people will really love and be with you on. It's not perfection they're looking at. We are human beings. Learn to be imperfect. Learn to make your mistakes, not just motivate people. I went to a time management coaching the other day, Naina. The coach came 15 minutes late. And he's doing time management coaching. So it's very easy to come there and give you great speeches, right? It's very difficult to actually make a person feel good. So work on that. Work on being genuine, and you'll be surprised as how people connect with you. Oh, Vidya, good to see you. Vidya, welcome. Vidya, welcome. Good to see you. I'm glad after yesterday's talk.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Vidya from Oman Toastmasters. Good afternoon.
Dr. Ushy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm really glad that I could hear, and I'm taking away such huge lessons. But just one probably personal question, but maybe it would help others. As a coach, many times I get intuitions to address large audience. And how do you help? I see you being open and out to talk, and you address with so much courage. Yes. How do you help me overcome that inhibition?
Please, there is something called acknowledge. So acknowledge the fact that people are judging you. Also understand and amplify the fact that people will have names for you. People are not people who gave birth to you or gave you any of the powers that you own today. And at the end of the day, make an appeal when you're speaking indirectly to let people know that you're immune to their opinions. They will stop forming enough opinions on you. So it's very important that you speak it. You don't speak the truth and you're not courageous, still they'll have opinions. So what happens? Are you speaking to impress or are you speaking to express? If you're speaking to impress, Vidya, none of us will last. None of us will last. All the fluff wears out. If you're speaking to express, it's a lifetime of speaking that you and me can have. Because you are you and you're unique and the best. I am me, unique and the best. All of us have something to bring to the table and we need not be like each other. There might be some time in my life where I need to be a Vidya. There might be some time in your life you need to be an Ushy. That's it. But there's no need to keep changing into anyone else. So I hope I'm able to throw light. Meditation helps a great deal. I don't meditate. I am a meditated mind. So 24/7, I work in low alpha. And that's the reason why people ask me, are you high on something? No, I'm not. I drink Horlicks. As simple as that. Any other questions? Any other questions?
We have a question from YouTube Live.
Yeah.
This gentleman is asking, how do you have any suggestions for improving short-term memory when I forget my speech in the middle, and how do you suggest we improve our short-term memory?
Yeah, there is an exercise where probably you will write down, you will sit visually. It's called visual cognition. You take 20 objects, keep it in front of you. You visually record it, close your eyes, push all the objects away, or you move away from the objects. and make a note of how many objects you're able to record. You can see every day, if you do this with different objects, even if it means 6 objects over here, if you're sitting in the airport, 5 objects over there, close your eyes and mentally record or write down in a small notebook. It's called visual cognition exercises. When you do that, you're actually working with the neurological areas of certain areas of your brain where you can remember a lot more. So in order to enhance your memory, please try the visual cognition exercises. That's the simplest one. The next level is mindfulness. The next level is meditation. Meditated minds are like Bruce Lee. You don't know 50,000 kicks practiced once. You know one kick practiced 50,000 times. Please don't go around trying everything here and there. Doesn't work out like that. Yeah. Is there anything else on YouTube that I need to know of? Please let me know. I'm very grateful to those of you there as well. I'm not sure how many of you are there, but yeah, probably you need to just let me know. Yeah. Thank you.
Ma'am, there's another question from YouTube Live that says, how do you include a kaleidoscope of emotions in a 5 to 7 minute speech?
Kaleidoscope of emotions in a fry. Think of the khichdi. You need to start with a joke, take yourself to a serious story, come with some more emotion of anger maybe in the story, maybe bring on characters into the story. And the best way to bring emotion is bring characters into the story. Introduce characters who are different. A strict boss, a stern husband, a frivolous wife, okay, a shopaholic neighbor, anything that you want as an emotion, fit it to a character and bring it out in your story. And I'm sure you can add on a lot of value and you can also bring it on, right? Yeah. Is there anything else?
Ma'am, one last question from Zach. How do you keep track of time when you do an extemporary style of speech?
How do you keep track of time? Like I said, I never use a watch, but I know the time. And I've been asking you guys, do you have time? Because once you get used to that and you're 100% aware, you know that 300 words take so much, 900 words take so much, 1,800 words take so much. So once you have your supercomputer on and you're aware, your brain will give you an idea as to the time. If you have doubts, you always ask somebody else to remind you. It's a very safe and simple way. So if you speak to time, if you speak to practice, if you speak to the purpose, I don't see why you should keep rambling. That's why I said 10-minute speeches take time. 10-hour speeches are very easy. And an unprepared speaker has every right to be afraid. I read 9 newspapers minimum in the week. I have about 3 books, fact and fiction, both every week. You need to enhance your vocabulary so that you have every single word. You have prepositions, you have connectors, you have adverbs, you have adjuncts, you use all the other tools like rhetorical devices, metaphors, alliterations. If you're going to say the bee is buzzing, you can feel the bee. And the bee went by. No way. The bee is buzzing by. And people feel it. So you need to learn onomatopic words. There are 100 things in language which you can acquire slowly. Language is not the primary skill. It's not what you say. It's how you say that matters. If I'm going to say where game, which play, there play, don't play here, go play there, you'll be confused. But later you'll understand where game, which play, there play, don't play here, go play there. It means that you need to be where you belong at the right moment, at the right time, doing the right things. And those are all age-old wisdom. You can translate it however you want. Yesterday, somebody came to me and told me, give me your pain. And I said, I have none. I don't have any pain. They meant pain, pain. In Gujarat, you say pain. This is a pen. But they say, give me your pain. So English is a strange language. We all talk strange languages all across India. So there's nothing to worry. Go for it. What you do once is learning forever. What you speak about always and do never is you in the same state forever. It's as simple as that. 1 round of doing is equal to 1,000 rounds of talking. That's all. Is there anything else? Oh, how can I overcome inhibitions as a woman? Go for it. Flaunt everything that you have. Women have assets and don't worry about it. Feel happy. You're fat, you feel good. You're thin, you feel good. You have nothing, you feel good. You have everything, you feel good. Okay, you're not fat, you're more visible. You're not thin. It's just that probably you're in your own radiographic mode. It's as simple as that. So if you're a man or a woman, please don't be physically inhibited by your speaking. Some of the best speeches are given on wheelchairs. And please be blessed that you can stand, you can speak, you can do so much. So it's just about the energy that you transfer, the feel good that you have, the confidence that you deliver with, and finally the prep that cannot be at any cost skipped out. Even an expert needs to prep. And it looks so comfortable that it looks like it's extemporary. But it is a prepped speech, right? Is there anything else?
Ma'am, there's one last question from
okay.
Sudha Jordan.
Okay.
Her question is, how do you add value to a culturally diverse crowd that you do not know how to impact them?
I presume that they're human beings, right? So if they're culturally diverse or otherwise, I wouldn't care. In areas where I don't know the culture, I play safe. I tell them that I don't know your culture, so please excuse me. It's called anticipatory bail. So get yourself some anticipatory bail. Ask people, tell them I'm a manufacturing defect. After God created me, he destroyed the mold because he feared competition. Whenever I wake up in the morning, the devil sees competition. So you're giving them a small rundown and then you're speaking. They will accept you and they'll say, excuse them. This is an imperfect human being. So let's accept her for who she is. So don't try and be perfect. Don't come in there with all these, righteousness and the great philosophical statements and go up there and come and, the number one looters of this country are some politicians. And they're the ones who give the biggest speeches about being so pious. So today the world is cynical and they just laugh. This is like, one of the dreaded terrorists who comes and says, I'm extremely spiritual. So it's all very contextual and we all know the truth. So I want all of you to remember and I want all of you to understand that if you're honest, it's brilliant. Okay? You don't have to worry about anything else. Physical spaces, the last, your judgment, the last. But we human beings, especially the Toastmasters, must promote good things. If things are good, you should scream it out. You should pass on good things. And this is a message I'd love to leave you with. When things are not really good, please don't spread it everywhere. Okay, don't forward things on your WhatsApp group. When things are good, spread it everywhere. And I think it's time for the goodness to drown all the shit that we are all in. 90% of us are dying of fear, not of the virus. That's all. Okay, so we are doing a good thing today. All of us are together. And I look forward to being in touch with all of you. Okay, if there's anything else, fine. As a host, what to consider to make the session successful in a seminar or a conference. Please do not call redundant speakers. Somebody is a speaker, I'll call same speaker. He's my friend, so I'll call him. Okay, it's a great opportunity to meet my friend. You want value, you should call people who give value. You may not like the person, but you should like the value they impart. It's very important to give everyone a chance. It's also very important to be very inclusive as people. It's also extremely important that you make way for the young people. Please don't say that I'm senior, I'm experienced. I learn from the young, and I want every one of us to learn only from the young. The old have the wisdom, agreed, but I think the young have the Josh. And they say that if you really want to feel young, walk with the youth. And if you really want to feel old, learn to catch up with the youth. And you'll understand what is the difference between them and you. I'm a firm believer in my students. I love them. And if not for them, I wouldn't have been a teacher. I'm very proud. As a teacher, I touch the future. And I think I'm really blessed that I do that. Is there anything else? Okay.
I think that's all the questions for now, ma'am. And thank you so much. It's been a brilliant session and there's so much goodness that has been shared by you. And one thing I can say for everyone is that we've all been encouraged to make more mistakes. And remember the line that you said. It's been a privilege to have you here, to learn so much from you in one short session. There is so much food for thought. And I'm still wondering, after going through my notes, what's the best thing I need to factor in to improve? But thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll send the PPT. I'll send the PPT to Rohan so he can share it with everybody who wants it. Please don't share it with those who don't want it. It's not an entitlement. It's my life there on the PPT. So those of you who want it, please write to Ushy at Gmail, or please write to Rohan. I'm sure the Delhi Toastmasters will actually send it to you if you really want. It'll be, yes, you can have the PPT. I will send it to Rohan. And for those of you who want it from me, please write to Ushy at Gmail. Please go and like my pages, come to Instagram. I want at least 3 or 4 stories today. Rohan, I'm going to come and strangle you in Delhi otherwise, because there's nothing else in it for me except for the joy of appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, when all of this COVID-19 is over, we will realize how little we need, how much we have, and the biggest connection is that of the human being. I think if you have these 3 things in your mind, everything else is insignificant when compared to that. I leave you with a beautiful wish, which says, may you have lots of love to share, lots of health to spare, and friends at the Toastmasters who care. I think it's really important. I have Toastmaster friends who care. I'm so happy. They follow me everywhere. They help me reach many people. They've enabled many lives, and they've helped me enable many lives through them. I'm most grateful to all of you. Stay connected. Have a brilliant evening. Have a wonderful Sunday, and hope to see you in that small little world which is called online. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. One last round of appreciation from our end. Rohan, can you request everyone to please unmute so that we can have a big round of applause for ma'am?
I'll send the PPT right away. A lot of them. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I think ma'am's left, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Brilliant session, yeah. Brilliant session. Okay, let's talk offline. Bye.